Accidentally married.
William had only been a university freshman for 3 months when his life turned completely upside down. Everything started during a charity event organized by his university. Hundreds of students attended, and several influential families were invited to support the fundraiser. William volunteered as a backstage assistant, spending the entire afternoon carrying boxes, organizing schedules, and helping performers prepare for the event. Exhausted, he eventually escaped to a quiet garden behind the hotel to catch his breath. At the same time, Est was attending the event for a very different reason. As the heir of one of the most powerful mafia families in the country, he had no interest in charity functions, but appearances mattered. His family needed to maintain good relationships with politicians and business leaders, so he reluctantly agreed to attend. The evening became increasingly frustrating. Reporters followed him everywhere, and several families attempted to introduce their daughters to him. Wanting a moment of peace, Est slipped away to the same garden. Neither of them expected what happened next. William, distracted while reading messages on his phone, accidentally bumped into Est near a fountain. Losing his balance, he grabbed the nearest thing he could find to avoid falling. Unfortunately, that thing happened to be Est's suit jacket. The expensive fabric tore with a loud sound. Both men froze. William's face immediately turned pale. "I'm so sorry," he said quickly. "I didn't mean to." Before he could finish, a group of reporters suddenly entered the garden. Cameras flashed instantly. The reporters had spent the entire evening searching for Est and immediately rushed toward him. Panicking, William instinctively stepped closer to Est. At the exact same moment, Est placed a hand around William's waist to stop him from falling again. The cameras captured everything. From a distance, they looked like lovers sharing an intimate moment. The next morning, the photographs exploded across social media. Headlines claimed that the mysterious and notoriously private Est had finally revealed his secret fiancée. Some articles even stated that a wedding announcement would be coming soon. William nearly fainted when he saw the news during breakfast. His phone would not stop ringing. His friends demanded explanations he could not provide. Meanwhile, the rumors spread throughout the entire city. Unfortunately, the situation was even worse for Est. His family was in the middle of delicate negotiations with rival mafia groups. A public relationship could be used against him. However, denying the rumors would create even more attention. Faced with an impossible situation, Est decided on a temporary solution. That afternoon, William received a call asking him to meet at a private restaurant. Curious and terrified, he agreed. When he arrived, Est was already waiting. The older man looked calm, elegant, and completely unaffected by the chaos surrounding them. William sat down nervously. "I think we need to talk," Est said. William laughed awkwardly. "I think so too." Est remained silent for a moment before speaking again. "I have a proposal." William suddenly felt very nervous. "What kind of proposal?" Est looked directly into his eyes. "Let's pretend the rumors are true." William almost choked on his water. The proposal sounded absolutely insane. Yet neither of them realized that this fake relationship would soon become far more real than either of them expected. William spent the next 3 days wondering whether he had completely lost his mind. Every reasonable part of him knew he should have refused Est's proposal immediately, yet somehow he found himself sitting in a lawyer's office, signing documents that outlined the rules of their fake engagement. The agreement was simple. They would pretend to be a couple for 6 months until the media lost interest and Est's family completed their negotiations. In return, Est would ensure that William's private life remained protected from reporters and online harassment. It sounded straightforward on paper, but reality was much more complicated. The moment the news of their engagement was officially confirmed, the internet exploded. Students at Williams University suddenly treated him like a celebrity. Strangers stopped him to ask questions. Some people congratulated him, while others accused him of chasing money and fame. The attention became overwhelming. Whenever he walked across campus, he could feel hundreds of eyes following him. One afternoon, after a particularly exhausting day, William sat alone in the library, staring blankly at his textbook without reading a single word. His phone vibrated constantly with notifications. He sighed heavily and buried his face in his arms. A few minutes later, a familiar voice spoke beside him. "You look miserable." William nearly jumped out of his chair. Est stood there wearing a black coat and a baseball cap pulled low over his eyes. Even dressed casually, he attracted attention wherever he went. "What are you doing here?" William whispered urgently. "People will see you." Est glanced around the library. "They've already seen me." William followed his gaze and immediately noticed dozens of students pretending not to stare at them. Some were secretly taking photos. He groaned. "This is a disaster." To his surprise, Est smiled slightly. "You'll get used to it. Easy for you to say. You're rich, powerful, and apparently immune to embarrassment." The smile on Est's face grew wider. "Immune to embarrassment?" William crossed his arms. "You don't look embarrassed about anything." Est leaned closer. "That's because nobody has ever forced me to attend a freshman orientation meeting." William blinked. "What?" "Your university requires family members to attend the partner introduction event next week." For several seconds, William simply stared at him. Then he laughed so hard that nearby students turned to look. The idea of Est, the cold and intimidating air of a mafia empire, sitting through presentations about student life was almost impossible to imagine. Unfortunately, the event arrived sooner than expected. On the day of the orientation, William felt nervous from the moment he woke up. Hundreds of students and family members filled the auditorium. Est arrived exactly on time, dressed in a perfectly tailored suit that immediately drew attention from everyone present. Mothers whispered to each other. Students openly stared. Even professors seemed curious. Throughout the entire presentation, Est remained surprisingly patient. He listened quietly, applauded when appropriate, and followed William around campus afterward as if they were genuinely engaged. Watching him interact with professors and classmates felt strangely natural. For a moment, William almost forgot that everything was fake. Later that evening, they stopped at a small cafe near the university. The atmosphere was warm and peaceful, far removed from the attention they usually received. William stirred his coffee thoughtfully before speaking. "Can I ask you something?" Est nodded. "Why did you choose me?" Est looked at him carefully. "What do you mean?" "You could have found anyone to play the role of your fiancé. Why me?" The question lingered between them. For the first time since they met, Est seemed genuinely uncertain. The truth was simple, yet he could not bring himself to say it. He could not admit that he had noticed William long before the accident in the garden. He could not admit that he had watched every music cover William uploaded online, or that hearing his voice had become one of the few things he looked forward to during difficult days. Instead, Est looked away and gave a safer answer. "Because I trust you." William stared at him, surprised. Trust was not a word he expected from someone like Est. Something warm settled in his chest. Neither of them spoke for a while. Outside, rain began to fall softly against the windows. Inside the cafe, surrounded by the scent of coffee and quiet music, their fake relationship suddenly felt a little less fake than before. Neither of them realized it yet, but the line between pretending and reality was already beginning to disappear. As the weeks passed, William slowly became accustomed to having Est in his life. What had started as a ridiculous arrangement gradually turned into a routine neither of them questioned anymore. Est would drive him to university when reporters gathered outside the campus gates. William would send him random messages throughout the day about annoying professors, difficult assignments, or funny things his friends had said. Sometimes they had dinner together after classes. Est looked at him for several seconds before answering. It was beautiful. The sincerity in his voice made William's heart skip a beat. Neither of them noticed how close they were standing. Neither of them noticed the silence surrounding them. For a moment, it felt as though the entire world had disappeared. Then a group of students exited the building, breaking the spell. William stepped back quickly, embarrassed by the sudden intimacy. Est looked away as well, though disappointment flashed briefly across his face. Later that night, William lay awake in bed, unable to stop thinking about what had happened. The way Est had looked at him felt different. More intense. More personal. Dangerous thoughts began creeping into his mind. What if his feelings were changing? What if somewhere along the way, he had forgotten this relationship was supposed to be fake? Across the city, Est sat alone in his office staring at a photograph from the competition that someone had posted online. It showed William smiling brightly on stage after receiving his award. Est traced the image with his thumb before closing his eyes. He had spent months convincing himself that this arrangement was temporary. 6 months, then everything would end. That had always been the plan. But now, for the first time, the thought of losing William felt unbearable. And that realization frightened him more than any enemy ever could. The closer William and Est became, the more difficult it was to ignore the truth. Their 6-month agreement had already reached its 5th month, and for the first time, both of them were painfully aware that the end was approaching. The thought lingered in every conversation, every shared meal, and every quiet moment they spent together. Yet neither of them dared to mention it. William tried convincing himself that he was simply afraid of losing a good friend, but deep down he knew it was more than that. Somewhere between the fake dates, the late-night phone calls, and the countless moments Est had quietly taken care of him, his feelings had changed. He had fallen in love without realizing it. The realization terrified him. How could he fall for someone whose entire world was so different from his own? Est belonged to a life filled with power, danger, and responsibilities that William could barely understand. Eventually, the arrangement would end, and Est would return to his world while William returned to his ordinary life. That was how it was supposed to happen. Unfortunately, fate seemed determined to make everything worse. One afternoon, William was leaving campus when a black car suddenly stopped beside him. Before he could react, several men stepped out and surrounded him. Fear shot through his body. The men were not strangers, they belonged to one of the rival groups currently negotiating with Est's family. William had heard enough rumors to recognize the danger immediately. Within minutes, he found himself sitting inside the vehicle, his hands trembling as the city disappeared behind dark windows. Meanwhile, across town, Est was in the middle of an important meeting when his phone rang. The moment he heard the report, every trace of calm vanished from his face. The room instantly fell silent. His men exchanged nervous glances. They had never seen their boss look like this before. "Find him," Est said quietly. The softness of his voice was far more frightening than a scream. "I want his location now." For the next several hours, the entire city seemed to move according to Est's orders. Every contact, every resource, and every favor his family possessed was used to locate William. Nobody dared to stand in his way. Deep inside an abandoned warehouse near the docks, William sat alone, trying to stay calm. He knew why he had been taken. He was not important because of who he was. He was important because of who he belonged to. The realization should have frightened him. Instead, it revealed something he had been avoiding for months. If his state never came, he would be devastated. Not because he needed rescue, but because he loved him. The truth settled heavily inside his chest. He loved Est completely and hopelessly. Several hours later, the warehouse doors suddenly exploded open. Shouts echoed through the building. Footsteps thundered across the concrete floor. Then William saw him. Est. His suit was slightly disheveled, his expression colder than William had ever seen, and there was a cut on his cheek. Yet none of that mattered. The moment their eyes met, relief flooded through both of them. Est crossed the room in seconds and immediately pulled William into his arms. For several moments neither of them spoke. William could hear the rapid beating of Est's heart. He had never imagined the man who always seemed so composed could look this shaken. "Are you hurt?" Est asked. His voice was rough, almost desperate. William shook his head. I'm okay. Est closed his eyes briefly as if trying to convince himself that William was truly safe. Then, before he could stop himself, he whispered, "You scared me." The words hung in the air between them. William looked up in surprise. Est never revealed his emotions so openly. Not once. Not ever. And yet here he was, holding William as if letting go would destroy him. Something inside William broke. Est. His voice trembled. What happens after the 6 months? The question froze them both. Est slowly released him but did not step away. For months he had avoided thinking about the answer. Now there was nowhere left to hide. I don't know, he admitted quietly. William laughed bitterly. I do. Est's chest tightened. William, it ends, right? William continued. That was always the plan. The pain in his voice was impossible to ignore. For the first time, Est realized how much damage that plan would cause. The idea of watching William walk away suddenly felt unbearable. More unbearable than any risk his dangerous life could bring. He stepped closer again. That was the plan, he said softly. But somewhere along the way, everything changed. William's heart stopped. Neither of them spoke for several seconds. The tension between them felt overwhelming. Then Estate reached for his hand. I don't want this to end. The confession was simple, yet it carried more honesty than anything he had ever said before. William stared at him, unable to breathe. After months of pretending, after months of hiding behind a fake relationship, the truth was finally standing right in front of them. And neither of them could run from it anymore. William could barely process the words he had just heard. For months, he had prepared himself for heartbreak. He had convinced himself that when the 6-month agreement ended, he would smile, thank Est for everything, and quietly disappear from his life. It would hurt, but at least he would keep his dignity. Yet now, standing inside the warehouse with Est's hand wrapped tightly around his, every carefully built defense collapsed. The man he loved was looking at him with a vulnerability he had never shown anyone else. For the first time since they met, Est was not the powerful heir of a mafia empire. He was simply a man afraid of losing someone important. William felt tears sting the corners of his eyes. You don't want it to end? He asked softly, needing to hear it again. Est took a deep breath. Confessing his feelings felt strangely more frightening than facing armed enemies. No, he admitted. I don't. The honesty in his voice made William's heart ache. Why? Est let out a quiet laugh. Because somewhere between driving you to class, listening to your endless stories about university, and watching you sing every chance you got, I fell in love with you. The world seemed to stop. For a moment, William forgot about the warehouse, the kidnapping, and the chaos surrounding them. There was only Est. Only the words he had dreamed of hearing for months. William smiled through his tears. You're late. Est blinked in confusion. What? William stepped closer. Because I've been in love with you for a very long time. For several seconds, neither of them moved. Then Estate pulled him into his arms again, holding him tighter than before. This time, there was no pretending. No agreement. No contract. No expiration date hanging over their heads. Just two people finally admitting the truth. A week later, the city received another shocking piece of news. The engagement between Est and William was no longer a publicity stunt. The wedding would actually take place. Reporters lost their minds. Social media exploded. Nobody knew the real story, but for once neither of them cared. Their families were equally surprised. Some people questioned the relationship. Others worried about the future. Yet Estate ignored every objection. For years, he had lived according to other people's expectations. This was the first decision he made entirely for himself. The wedding was surprisingly small. Instead of a grand ceremony attended by politicians and business leaders, they chose something simple. Only close friends and family were invited. William spent the entire morning feeling nervous. Despite everything they had experienced together, standing at the altar somehow felt more terrifying than being kidnapped. His hands shook slightly as he adjusted his suit. Across the room, his friends teased him endlessly. "Relax," one of them laughed. "It's not like he's going to run away." William rolled his eyes. "Very funny." Meanwhile, Est waited quietly at the front of the venue. He appeared calm, but everyone who knew him could tell he was anxious. His eyes constantly drifted toward the entrance. Then the doors opened. William walked inside. For a moment, the entire room disappeared from Est's awareness. He saw only one person. The same bright, stubborn, talented freshman who had accidentally crashed into his life and changed everything. William's heart skipped a beat when he saw the look on Est's face. It was the same expression he wore whenever he listened to him sing. The same expression he had seen countless times without fully understanding it. Now he finally did. It was love. When William reached him, Est gently took his hand. The ceremony passed in a blur of emotions, laughter, and happy tears. By the time they exchanged rings, both of them were smiling so much their faces hurt. The applause that followed sounded distant compared to the overwhelming happiness filling their hearts. Later that evening, after the guests had left and the celebration finally ended, William and Est found themselves alone on the balcony of their new home. The city lights sparkled beneath the night sky. For several minutes, they stood together in comfortable silence. Then William leaned against Est's shoulder. "You know," he said, "all of this happened because I accidentally tore your jacket." Est laughed softly. "That jacket cost a fortune." William gasped dramatically. "And you're bringing it up now?" "I'm just saying you owe me." William turned toward him with a playful smile. "How exactly am I supposed to repay you?" Est wrapped an arm around his waist and pulled him closer. "Stay with me." The teasing smile instantly softened. William looked into his eyes and saw nothing but sincerity. No fear. No hesitation. No conditions. Just love. "I can do that," he whispered. Under the glow of the city lights, Est kissed him gently. Their story had started with a misunderstanding, continued through a fake engagement, and survived countless obstacles. But in the end, neither of them cared how it began. What mattered was where it led them. And as they stood together, watching the future unfold before them, both knew they had found exactly what they had been searching for all along: a home in each other. The end. Thank you for listening to the entire story. Before you go, please answer the small question below. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video to support the channel and motivate me to create more stories for you. Your support truly means a lot. See you in the next story.